And now for more on day one of the convention, we turn now to Dino Scaros, Dino, executive editor of the National Herald and author of Grumpy Old Party, 20 tips on how the Republicans can shed their anger, reclaim their respectability, and win back the White House. Well, let me start with that one, Dino. How do they do that?
Well, first of all, they have to stop doing what they've been doing for the last dozen years or so. And the Republican Party is foundationally dysfunctional. They have to come to terms with the fact that there are 4 different types of Republicans. There are what I call the country club Republicans, like the Mitt Romney types. They're about amassing and keeping as much wealth as possible without having the government interfere. You have the Rand Paul types. They're the libertarian type that are afraid of eminent domain and Big Brother. You have the evangelical Christian values types, like the Ted Cruz types. And then you have the national security law and order types. And right now, that's the wing of the party that is gaining the most traction. And the problem is, all 4 of those cannot really comfortably live under one big tent. The whole big tent theory is a myth, I think.
You remind me of something that then President George W. Bush said when he spoke to members of the NAACP as well as the National Urban League, and then he talked to the Republican Party, explaining that they all need to be more inclusive to reach out to everybody, to all races, all faiths, all ethnicities. Has the Republican Party, in your opinion, been able to accomplish that, or because of these 4 definitions that you've talked about, they've remained at odds with each other?
I think for the most part they've remained at odds. It's not so much for lack of trying, even though in some cases it is, because I remember after 9/11, then President Bush and Vice President Cheney were driving up the Upper West Side, and I think somebody joked to them in Manhattan and said, I think we got about 2 votes in this neighborhood.
Well, Dino, in the essence of time, why is this happening within the Republican Party? It seems to be something that's plagued them for a while. And why can't they get their act together? And is Donald Trump the one to bring together the unity?
Well, Donald Trump is, well, I don't know if unity is the answer, because I think that the party leaders and the party powers that be are so out of touch with the voters. And I mean, we've seen that in this election. And the theme of my book is how clueless they are in terms of winning elections. I think Donald Trump is a prime example of the fact that there is a huge chunk of Republican voters who have been double parked in the Republican Party since Ronald Reagan, because Reagan was really more of a populist and a patriot than a pure trickle-down economics guy. And I think this brand of extreme trickle-down economics that a lot of the country club Republicans are purporting is not what these voters really want, and they've been voting Republican by default. And Trump comes along, who's really more of a populist, and the strategy to keep him down was, oh, well, he's not conservative enough. And a lot of these leaders don't realize that the people are saying, well, you know what? Neither are we, and we just figured it out.
Dino, we thank you for your perspective. And your book is called what again?
Grumpy Old Party, and it talks about all this and more about the election. And I really hope the powers that be read it between now and Election Day so they can get their act together.
All right, Dino. Thank you.